I did know, obviously, the behavior was very inappropriate.
When MK was a 15-year-old in 2006, the Prince Edward County Children's Aid Society placed her in a foster home run by a young couple, Joe and Janet Home. MK, whose identity is under a publication ban, remembers what happened when one of two other teenage girls in the home complained to Children's Aid about Joe Home's sexually inappropriate behavior.
They had asked us if that had actually happened, and we said yes. We witnessed this happening, and he was told not to do it again. And it was left at that. So when the behavior began to progress with me, I almost kind of felt in a sense that this was normal.
Over the next 3 years, Joe sexually abused MK. Janet covered it up.
Like, we were actually even told by my foster mother that my foster father was not to be present when they would do the annual visits. And that was actually a suggestion from people who worked at Children's Aid. Because he was not necessarily able to cover up his behavior.
The Holmes pleaded guilty in 2011 to a number of sexual abuse offenses against MK and other children in their care. A judge sentenced him to 4 years in prison, her to 3. But theirs wasn't the only case. Another 4 Prince Edward County foster parents were convicted of sexually abusing their foster children. So many convictions in such a small jurisdiction led the government to launch a review of the county's Children's Aid Society. It found a poorly run, dysfunctional CAS rife with infighting that interfered with planning and placement of children. Appropriate screening and assessment requirements for foster homes were often not met, and the CAS had no clear and cohesive response to allegations of sexual abuse. Now, 6 years later, the Society's former executive director is facing criminal negligence charges for running a CAS that ended up fostering children with abusers. William Sweet declined to comment when CBC knocked on his door in Picton, Ontario.
No, I'm sorry. I'm not interested in speaking to
Oh,
anybody.
you sure? I just wanted to ask you about the charges. The Prince Edward County CAS was merged 6 years ago into a larger regional society headed by Mark Cartouche.
You know, making sure that we followed the right processes for approvals of homes, and then the oversight and how we work together with homes. We did some staff training, and we helped enhance some of the management training.
MK says she and the other abused former foster children will follow Sweet's trial closely.
I hope that this is an eye-opener for them for sure. And I hope that the agencies can be mindful of the people that they are allowing to be foster parents.
Sweet will be back in court next month. Ron Charles, CBC News, Picton, Ontario.
Now, the issue of child protection was also top of mind in Alberta today, with a call for the province to do more to battle opioid addiction among young people.
We're calling in our report for that substance use education to be embedded in the school curriculum, and that for it to take place both in elementary and into the high school grades.
The plea for a youth-specific drug strategy comes from Alberta's child and youth advocate. It follows his review of 12 deaths, tragic stories of teens who died from opioid overdoses over a 2-year period while wrestling with family breakdown, crime, and other issues.
Harm reduction can open the door to a relationship, and that can lead to positive influence towards healthier behavior.
Among the other recommendations, more training for frontline workers who deal with children to recognize signs of addiction and intervene early, with an added focus on young people with mental health or cognitive problems. Also, a mention that family and close friends should play a role in treatment. The government says it's reviewing those recommendations.